Hello, welcome to 9.5 homework help. I'm sorry that I gave you homework over spring break. I know I would rather not, but sorry. If I were you, I would just get it done early. But I also understand if you wait until Sunday. Okay. Examine the scattered plot below. Imagine that you drew a straight line through the general pattern of the points, keeping as close as possible to all points with as many points above the line as below. Okay, so goodness, you're trying to draw a line through these points so that you kind of have the same amount of points above and below the line. So there's going to be a lot of answers for this one, all right? You guys are not all going to get the exact same thing. Okay, so let me move myself out of the way. I'm still in the way. There. Oh, we have to predict first. Okay. Predict my y-intercept. All right, so I'm going to draw a line through here. Maybe it'll hit like at 102. I'm going to say it's going to be like 102. Oops. It's been a while since I've done that. Here we go. I'm going to say it's going to be, what? Didn't I hit the thing? Didn't I click on it? Apparently not. Maybe it'll hit a little, it might hit a little bit below that. So maybe, I don't want to throw decimals in there. My slope. You want me to predict my slope? Okay, well, let's think. Is this going to be a negative slope or a positive slope? Am I decreasing or increasing? I'm decreasing, right? Generally, I'm going as my x values increase, my y values are getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, so I'm going to have a negative slope. So your slope should be negative. I don't know. Let's do maybe like, where did I go? It's down to 1, down to, maybe just like down to 1. Oh, that's it. Okay. I'd say as long as your slope is negative and like kind of reasonable, like down 5/2 or something like that. Okay, you're just kind of trying to guess. So now we're going to sketch my line. So I said my y-intercept would be 102. Let's see. I'm going to sketch. Actually, I think I'm going to end up being a little bit above that. Let's see. Maybe something like that. Okay, so actually my y-intercept is above 102. Okay. That looks about decent. I'm going to leave it there. And then write an equation for that line. Okay. So this is y equals, let's see. I'm going to say my y-intercept is 103. So, oh, my slope. Okay, hold on. What points do I actually hit on here? Do I hit any actual points? 5, nope. Okay, so this is 0, 1, 2. All right, so I'm going to call this point right here, this little green square that I'm going through, let's call that 3 and 101. Okay, this is going to be, we're going to be estimating here. That's another point that I go through this point pretty well. All right, let's call that, what's that? Probably about like 7 or 8. Call it 8. So then I'm going to do this point. 8. And, oh, I lost it. 8 and like 99. Because I don't want to deal with fractions. Okay, there. So I found 2 points on my line. This is all about estimating, all right? So my change in y is 101 to 99. Oh, no way. So -2 my slope is -2. Over 3 to 8, that's +5, so over 5. Okay, so that's the slope generally of my line that I just drew. All right. Plus my y-intercept, which I'm going to say is at, it's really like 102.7 probably. I'm going to say 103 just to not deal with. Okay. So this one, number 3. Oh, okay. You are matching the following scatter plots with the correct correlation coefficient. So here are the correlation coefficients. And then you have all of your scatter plots. So remember, if you have a negative correlation coefficient, then your relationship is going to be negative. You're going to have a negative type slope. As one increases, the other one decreases. We'll just start with it. Sure. So we'll start with number 3. Okay. So here's my scatter plot for number 3. First of all, I see that my points are pretty close together. They're not scattered all over the place. They're pretty close together. So that means there's going to be a pretty strong relationship here. And then is it negative or is it positive? It's negative. As my x values are increasing, my y values are getting smaller. Okay, if you were to draw in a line, it would have a negative slope. Okay, so it's negative and it's a pretty strong relationship. So let's look up at our options here. No, okay. Ooh, negative, and that's really close to -1. So that might be it. Negative. Okay. It's also negative, but that one's not very strong. And that one's really weak. Okay. So C is probably our best bet. So number 3, I'm going to put as C. We'll just keep going. Number 4. We're definitely more scattered, so it's not going to be as strong as a relationship as number 3. Okay, but you can still look. Generally, is the pattern, is it decreasing or is it increasing? So it's going to be a negative or positive relationship. If it's decreasing, it's going to be a negative relationship. If it's decreasing, it's going to be a negative relationship. Okay. So it is decreasing, right? If I were to draw a best fit line in here, okay, it would be going down. All right. It would have a negative slope. So this is also a negative relationship, but it's not very strong. So we had 2 other negative ones. We had negative 0.49 and negative 0.25. Okay, so let's find our other negative one because it's going to be one of these. This is going to be a really weak correlation. So they're going to be really scattered. So let's see if we can find F. Okay, so 4 is negative, but it has some sort of relationship. It's not very strong. Which other one is negative? It's kind of hard to tell. Well, let's see. This one. Wait, we're on number 4. This one, okay. This is positive. Number 5 is also going to be positive. Okay, so I don't see any other like obvious negative one. So I'm going to say that number 4 is whatever that like 4 one was, D. Number 4 is D. All right, pause me and try these on your own, all right? But I'm going to keep rolling. All right, number 5. You can skip around. If you want to skip around, feel free to skip around. For instance, I'm actually going to skip over number 6 for a second. These guys are all really close. These are all pretty close together, right? Pretty close to being an actual line. So there's going to be a strong relationship here. Is it positive or is it negative? It is positive. okay, because they are increasing. As one increases, so does the other. You would have a positive slope here. So we are going in the positive direction, and it's really strong. So let's look at our options. Let's see, we've used that one, and we've used that one. Okay. Positive, and it's pretty strong. So which one do you think? Positive and pretty strong. B, 0.97. It's really close to 1. It's really strong relationship. So we're going to use B, so I'm going to cross it off. So we know it's no longer an option. So it's B. Okay. All right, we can go back to number 5 now. So number 5, looking at it, they're definitely not close to forming a line, so it's not a very strong relationship. So I'm going to come back to that. 7, okay. So here's what you kind of have to start to do. So look at 5 and look at 7. Can I zoom out so we can see them both at the same time? Yes, I can. I have that power. Okay, so 5 and 7. Which one has a stronger relationship? Which one is closer to being a line, 5 or 7? 7, right? They're closer to being an actual line. 5 is a little scattery. So 7 is also positive, right? As one increases, generally so does the other. My best fit line would be increasing as I drew it through them, something like that. Okay. So 7 is pretty strong positive. Okay, well, we have a really weak positive, kind of strong positive, and then a negative. Okay, so this one is going to be E. Where's my pencil? There it is. I don't know why it's yellow. I never choose yellow. Scroll back down. So that was number 7. That is E. Okay, so now all we have left is number 8 and number 5. 8 and number 5. Let's see. So let's look at what's my first x value here. So I'm like right here. Here are my x values. So as my x value increases, 70, kind of does both. Okay. Let's look at number 8. Sorry, I'm trying to like decide if I totally agree with the book, and I don't love these last two, but that's okay. So if I'm looking here, see my x value starts out at 35. So then my y value decreases, 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 decrease. Generally, as my x values are getting bigger, generally my y values, oh, where am I going here? Generally, my y values are getting smaller. It's a little wonky over here, but generally it has a negative, not slope. I mean, yes, the negative direction. It's not the right word either. Okay, so 8 is actually an F. I don't really like this one, but that's all right. So 8 is F, which means the number 5 is A. Very, very little, so almost no correlation because it's almost at 0. So almost no relationship there. All right. The last part, follow the prompt within the line. Oh, okay. So they give you a line, or they give you a graph, and they give you an instruction. So you need to draw a line that has a greater slope. So once again, you're gonna have lots of different answers here, and that's fine. So it has to have a greater slope. Okay. That means it's going to be increasing faster. So I don't know. I'm going to draw a line like that. Okay. It's increasing. Oh, stretched out. There we go. Okay, this line is increasing way faster than this line. So it has a greater slope, a lesser slope. Okay, that's all right. So the slope of this line, change in y is 0. So your slope is 0. So to draw a line with a lesser slope, you have to draw a line that has a negative slope because negative is less than 0. So you can just draw any line that has a negative slope. Ta-da. Okay, because the slope of this line is 0. Okay, the slope of any horizontal line is 0. The slope of any horizontal line is 0. So something with a lesser slope, negative is less than 0. So it has to be a negative line. A larger y-intercept and a lesser slope. All right, getting a little bit more complicated here. Okay, so a larger y-intercept, let's start there. My y-intercept is going to be greater. Okay, so any y-intercept above this one, and a lesser slope. And a lesser slope. Okay. So y-intercept is greater, and your slope has to be less. All right, this already has a negative slope. So, here, hold on, let me do this for a second. Let's say, I can just find it actually. The slope of this line, down 1, 2, 3. All right. The slope of this line is down 1 over 3. All right. So a slope is less than that. That means it has to be a greater negative number. So like negative 2/3 would work. A slope of negative 3 would work. A slope of negative 5 over, I don't know, 7 would work. Okay, it has to be a greater negative number than negative 1/3. So it's going to be steeper. It's going to be steeper. So nice steep negative line. We'll do that. Boom. Oh. Okay, we'll do that. Boom. Aw. Okay, that works. Stay. There you go. Larger y-intercept, and the slope is less than negative 1/3. It's now whatever it is. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Negative 3 over 2. All right. Slope is the opposite reciprocal. Ooh, hoo. Opposite reciprocal. So what does that mean about these lines? What are they going to be? If slopes are opposite reciprocals, what are these lines going to be? Perpendicular. You have to find a line with a perpendicular slope. Okay, so first we have to find the slope of this line. I'm going to start here. My slope is 1, 2, 3. All right. So my slope of this line is 3 over 2. So then the opposite reciprocal slope would be negative 2 over 3. And it doesn't matter where your y-intercept is. We'll just make them cross right here. Because I like cross there at the y-axis. Oh, actually. So then my slope has to be negative 2, 3. So down 2. Boom. I'll go the other way. 2. Boom. Okay. And then let me just connect those with my line. I can't see what I'm doing very well. There you go. Ta-da! And I just did all of the homework for you. So hopefully that all made sense. All right. Enjoy your spring break. I will see you on April 5th.